West Coast there. It is the Boise State Broncos traveling to the great state of Wyoming to face the Cowboys. Both these teams 7-3, 6-0 in the conference for Boise State. Wyoming is sitting there at 5-1 in the conference. You're looking at this. Boise State is a 14-point road favorite in this game. That shocked me a lot, Fresh, when I started looking at this one here. Over under set at 44.5. Let's dive into this because this is an interesting, both these teams are very interesting. So let's dive into it here. Fresh, talk to me a little bit about Boise State versus Wyoming.
I think, well, first off, Laramie, Wyoming is a tough place to play. It's, you've ever seen videos of it? It's, first of all, it's a mile high. They make sure that you're well aware of that when you get up in there. But it's kind of like it looks not like your typical college stadium. There's bleacher stands in each of the end zones. It's kind of open aired. Everybody in the state is embracing it. It is wild. It is, raw, ruckus, mountain kind of a feel to it. And you're in for a battle when you get up there. And so I think that right there is just adapting to that kind of thing. Coming from Boise State, it won't be as difficult from some other teams who have to make that true, connection, adaptation to it. But it is still something you have to get ready for and be prepared. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be loud. It's going to be nasty. And you also have to factor in that Wyoming is playing for a chance to, in essence, be number one in the Mountain Division and have put themselves potentially in a Mountain West title game. This isn't just two teams messing around. This is a game with a lot of implications that could really push a program, in two directions. Ever since Josh Allen left Wyoming and went to the NFL, the program's been up and down, but they haven't waited for that great moment to return to where they were when he was that quarterback. This is a chance for them to get back there. You take down Boise State, which is a rival, which has been the face of the Mountain West for a long time. You take the tiebreaker advantage of them going into the last week of the regular season and have a chance to play for a conference championship. And the goal, if you have an opportunity to play for a conference title or put yourself in that situation with 2 weeks to go or a week to go in the regular season, you're obviously in the trajectory of having a great year. And so that's a goal for everyone. This is right there in front of them. And being at home makes it a little better. Like if you're going to Boise right now and playing in that blue turf, Smurf turf, I would give them absolutely no chance whatsoever. Being at home gives them a breath of fresh air, to have confidence to be in their own bed the night before, practice together, and have the crowd behind them, which gives them an extra bump. The Cowboys do need to run the football and play defense. This is going to have to be an ugly, slow it down, grind it out, use the weather football game. They are averaging 188 yards on the ground compared to 139 in the air. They are not a passing football team at all. They have to run the football 4 yards in a cloud of dust, or in this case, a cloud of snow, and matriculate the ball. They have to score touchdowns. You cannot win football games by kicking field goals against rivals or in big games. You have to score touchdowns. You have to control the clock. Keep that Boise State offense on the sideline. They literally have no room for error whatsoever in this game because their offense has not been the strongest or most consistent. And if they get down, that passing game is going to be painful for them to use to get back in the football game. They do rely on the running back Titus Swen, 752 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's going to have a game of his career this week. I'm saying they have to give him the ball at least 25 times, maybe 30 touches, 150 total yards, and he at least find the end zone once to make sure they're in this football game come the fourth quarter. But he's going to have to be the focal point. Obviously, Boise State knows that. So Wyoming's going to have to find somebody else who wants to step up, if it's slot receiver, maybe it's a tight end, to at least make a couple plays. You've got to find a way to play your best game this week, or the season could kind of slip away. You'll find yourself in a bowl game, but you won't be playing for the game that you actually want to accomplish your goals with. They are scoring 23.2, and they're giving up 23.1. So the defense is getting the job done. The offense needs to be better and more consistent, and that starts with this football game. On the other side, Boise State started off the season a little, rocky, a little up and down. They weren't what we expect them to be from the Bronco program. We kind of lost some faith in the offense. We were trying to figure out what they were trying to do. Defensively, they had some holes, and they've kind of put it together as the season's gone on and got themselves in a great situation to do what they always do, play for a conference championship. They have found ways to, on the fly, adapt and grow, which has been extremely impressive. The defense was giving up 25 or 30 earlier in the year. They're down to 17 points. The offense was scoring maybe 20 points a game. Now they're scoring 30. They found an extra 10 points per game as the season's moved on. It means they've made adjustments. They found out what they are. And what they are is a ground and pound football team. Both these teams' offenses both rely on the running back. But really, George Halani, he is the key. 845 and 10 touchdowns right now for the Broncos. This is not an air out football team. Think Johnson, the running back, the year that they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. They was a very run-focused football team. This is the same kind of mentality. Run the football, use play action, use some trickery on the edges, and let the passing game develop in there. But use the running game as your focal point and push that and make that drive your opportunity to win a football game. Defensively, they're giving up 264. So they found ways to control and get the other teams off the field, limit the points. But 264, I mean, that's pretty dang impressive. That's one of the best in the nation. And they're only giving up 107 on the ground. So we talked about Wyoming loves to run the football. Boise State's giving up only 107 on the ground. Which of those sides of the football is going to break or blink in this case? In the end, I think this is going to be a lot closer than 14. I take give Wyoming and the points. I think Boise State finds a way to squeak it out like 17, 14, 20, 16, somewhere in there. It will not be a blowout football game. The weather and the crowd will be have major implications, but I think Boise State squeaks it out and survives their trip to Laramie.
So, Fresh, I was looking at Boise State here very quickly, and the only team right now that Boise State has not beat by a good, I would say, 2 to 3 touchdowns here is Air Force. And Air Force has a really dynamic offense, and it was in Colorado Springs for that game a couple weeks ago. Boise State went to Colorado Springs and beat Air Force, so that's a pretty impressive win. You take a look and see what Boise State has done, and they have one of the players that I'm going to call right now is probably my transfer portal, probably top candidate to be in the transfer portal to wind up at a Power 5 conference, and that's Taylon Green, the quarterback. He's a 6'6" freshman this year. He has been he's come on strong as of late. You take a look at the month of October going into this month of November here, and he started to really ball out right there. He's got 7 out of his 10 touchdowns or all 7 of his touchdowns have been in the last like 5 weeks here, and he's only thrown 2 interceptions here since taking over that quarterback position. He also is a little bit of a running threat, not as much as like some of the other guys, but you look at him, he can extend the plays with his leg. George Halani, the junior out of California right there, he's going to be my real target player. How he goes, this game goes. If Wyoming, if Big Sky Country gets caught in the view of the mountains and the sun setting over those mountains and seeing the sky and the clouds and all of that and the gorgeous look of Wyoming and maybe a moose crossing the football field. I don't know if they can keep moose out of the stadium there. They probably have a way, but
the Cowboys, they better do it.
they better do it. That's going to be where this comes down to is if he's able to really get going, then watch out. I think that this game could get out of hand for Wyoming. But with Wyoming, Tyus Sween, you see what he's done as a running back there. You take a look also what Peasley has done as the quarterback. He's not. It's tough for me because he's only completing about 52% of his passes right now, and he's taken 14 sacks. Like that really starts to scare me when I start to see that when you almost are sitting there with 9 touchdowns and 14 sacks, and it looks like he's not even going to be playing this weekend. I think they're talking about him being out this weekend, so they'll move to sophomore Jaden Clemens going in. So this kid is out of Utah, and I just had this come across here fresh. So I had the quarterback Peasley here saying that he is out now for this game. So it's going to be interesting. Does this quarterback, this Clemens, offer a different dynamic? Can he change this game here? Because he's a little bit different of a quarterback as well. A little bit better at completing the ball. He has a higher completion rate as well, but he hasn't played a bunch. He came in last weekend and went 7 for 11 for 90 yards and a touchdown against Colorado State. Now, Boise State's much different than Colorado State. At the end, I also put down here that it's going to come down to third down for Wyoming. They're only getting their third down conversion rate at 37.5%. If they don't start converting third down at almost 50% against the Broncos, I got a feeling that this one's going to get real ugly real quick. But, home field is weird. You take a look, Wyoming, they've won 4 straight right now. They've put themselves in this position. But then when you take a look at who they've beaten these last 4 weeks, New Mexico, not very good. Utah State, they're Hawaii, not very good. And then Colorado State, not very good. So they've played lesser competition. I don't know, Fresh. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say Boise State, and I'm going to say Boise State, but just under that 14-point mark. I'm going to say Boise State by 13.
Either way, it'll be a fun one to watch. It is on CBS Sports Network, so